Peace. What's good, YouTube? It's Kareem Samathi back again with another video. So today we're gonna get into how to stop overthinking, and this is a pretty large topic because in these recent ages, a lot of people have developed anxiety. A lot of people have developed, the overthinking, quote unquote disorder, right? And it's very, very important that we recognize how to stop this and how to come to terms with this, right? Because when it comes to overthinking, a lot of people they want to make this go away, right? Everybody wants to make their anxieties go away. Everybody wants to be clear-headed, especially inside the circles of consciousness, inside the circles of on the spiritual journey, right? And that's something that there's been like an influence, or there's been like a lot of consensus around, emptying the mind of thoughts, right? And the first thing that I'm going to tell you is that you are always going to have thoughts, whether you're alive or whether you're dead, in your spirit body. Part of having a conscious mind is having thoughts. And the thing with thoughts is that thoughts are, you trying to get rid of them is you letting go of a certain power that you have. Thoughts are your power. If you knew the power of thoughts, you would never let your thoughts be out of your control again. And the thing is, what we try to do is that we work from a place of a lack of control. And so what we'll do is that we'll overcompensate and we'll obsess over controlling our thoughts so much that we lose control, or that we become hypervigilant, and that creates more anxiety, right? It's the same thing with trying to control another person. It actually makes you feel weaker because no one's really in your control, right? And so the same thing with trying to control another person. If you can't even control yourself, there's deficiencies there. And so this is what I mean when I say how to stop overthinking. So the first step to stop overthinking is really to surrender rather than trying to control so much, right? And this is mentioned in many different spiritual systems, because the submissive or the surrendering is actually more powerful than the one that's trying to dominate and control, right? Because we have to think of submission like water, right? Water can pass through anything. Water in large volumes can destroy anything. And those two natures of water, right? Water can fill anything, can be in any spot, and it can transform into many different forms. But if water is large enough in volume, even if it's the least resistant thing in the universe, water can still dominate simply based off of its nature to submit. And so that's essentially how we have to be. Our thinking, our thought processes, we have to surrender to them rather than trying to control them so much. So when you're meditating, or when you're doing whatever you need to do to get into that state of mind of feeling spiritually in control, you want to surrender to your thoughts. Whenever you find yourself overthinking, you want to surrender. You don't want to try to control. The more that you resist, the more you create more anxiety for yourself, the more that you create overthinking. Overthinking is a result of you resisting your thoughts in the first place, because if you weren't resisting them, there wouldn't be a need to overthink. So we have to be aware, what are we resisting as a part of our thought process? Are we resisting certain emotions? Are we resisting certain thoughts? Are we resisting the situation, right? We have to understand what we're resisting and find a way to surrender and process things, to digest things, right? Because thoughts work like food. All of your thoughts are different kinds of food for your conscious mind. So however they get digested and whatever influences those thoughts, it translates into what goes on into your emotions and your feelings. So, but if we surrender to them, we have more control over whether these things digest or not, right? When thoughts mix with emotions, we create feelings, and feelings can translate into the subconscious mind. So we really have to be cognizant, okay, if we resist a thought, why are we resisting it? What's making us resist it? What are we resisting? And can we just find a way to surrender to these things? Because it's very much possible, right? And surrender, this is going to get into the next point, surrender essentially is you observing your thoughts without judgment. This is the second way to stop overthinking. You observing your thoughts without judgment, right? Because when you judge your thoughts, right, and you tell yourself, I shouldn't be thinking this way, I shouldn't be feeling this way, I have to control my thoughts, things are out of control. And it's, and just saying that, oh, I'm not powerful enough, I'm not enlightened enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, right? For me, it hurts just saying those things, even in an example form, because I know it's not true. And so that's why you want to observe your thoughts without judgment. And yes, these things are going to come up, but you just want them to pass by. Like I said, you want your mind to be like water. So these thoughts, they're nothing more than different droplets falling into that water. But whether or not you allow it to become a part of you is a different thing, right? So that's essentially what you want to do, especially during meditation. You want to observe without judgment. You want to let these things go, but you don't want to resist them. You don't want to judge them. You don't want to, and add in, and combat your thoughts, right? Combating your thoughts, combating your ego is an endless battle, because your ego finds a way to stay alive when you're resisting so much, when you're overthinking so much, and when you're judging so much, right? That's the ego's domain of survival. It wants you to do those things in order for it to stay at the forefront, in order for it to stay in control, rather than you taking full control over your subconscious mind and having control over your mind in general, when it comes to the thoughts and emotions and feelings that enter into it. So you want to observe without judgment. Don't worry whether you're meditating right. Don't worry whether you're in the right position or not. Don't worry, just let these things pass. When you let these things pass, oddly enough, sometimes your mind is going to have to filter out and just like have a purge of just a bunch of thoughts. For some people, especially, for me, this happened, initially in my first few months of my awakening. I just had to purge all those thoughts, and I just simply had to sit there with them. That's what, sometimes you might have to do that, because all those thoughts you might have resisted, they build up and they stay somewhere, right? And then they translate and they become shadows for you until you deal with them and you let them go. So, sometimes you have to sit there and you have to process these things, digest them and let them go. See if you want to hold on to these things, or see if you want to let them go. That's really up to you. And so another way to stop overthinking is to journal your thoughts. Same way I tell you guys to journal your actions, to journal your emotions, also journal your thoughts, and really just ask, are these thoughts serving me, and are they serving my purpose? And you want to ask, are these thoughts empowering me, or are they disempowering me? Ask these things, ask many other questions, right? Just to see whether these thoughts are really serving you or not. And over time, you'll really start to get a grasp over what you're thinking. And you also see that a lot of your thoughts are repetitive, and because they're repetitive, they're in the subconscious mind. So when you start to catch these things and you start to notice them over time, and you realize that a lot of your thoughts are just old processes that are trying to repeat so they can stay alive, which means that you've created an entity that survives off of those thoughts, right? The minute you become aware of it, that's when you can let it go immediately, right? So this is why I say journal your thoughts, especially the ones that you find that are reoccurring, because most thoughts that we feel are holding us back, they are reoccurring, and they're reoccurring for a reason, because it's time for us to let them go. So this is something that is definitely helpful. I do this for myself, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I overthink sometimes too. I do sometimes have anxiety spikes. It happens to everyone. But it's, for me now, it's definitely different than it was, I'd say 2 or 3 years ago. When I couldn't process things, and a lot of times I would just push things all the way to the back, and they would just sit in the darkness forever. And I wasn't really, dealing with things in a healthy manner. But over time, now I can deal with overthinking in less than 5 minutes, less than 2 minutes probably, and just really whatever you find that just brings you, focus into the moment is also another way to stop overthinking. And then also sometimes you just want to allow yourself, like I said, you just want to allow yourself to purge some of these thoughts. So, and you don't want to sit there forever, but you want to like set aside time where you'll feel safe, secure, and able to process and digest these things, in a healthy manner, especially without your own judgment and without anybody else's judgment. It's healthy to do these things. It's healthy to listen to ourselves and to really just figure out, what's really going on within, get in tune with that inner world. Overthinking is something that you don't have to suffer from. You should definitely be in power with your thoughts, and that's, us trying to disconnect from it so much, is what's causing the problems. You don't want that disconnect from that inner you, because it's there for a reason. Thoughts are your power. Great thoughts, if they reoccur enough, they can create an entirely new universe for you. So that's very essential to know how to control your thoughts, and also to know how to stop overthinking. And you also, just the last step is to really not label your thoughts either. Thoughts, they're not good or bad. They're not they're not positive or negative. They just are what they are. They're information, they're energy, right? And so where you put this information, how you apply this information, how you apply this energy is up to you. If it serves you, keep it. If it doesn't serve you, work on letting it go. The book by David R. Hawkins, Letting Go, is very, very key, because it teaches you in depth how to let go of old thought processes and feelings, things that have gotten programmed to the subconscious mind and that you might have forgotten were there, but it's in your personality, it's in the way that you carry yourself, it's in the subconscious mind. So when we work on letting go and we let the thoughts pass by, and especially during meditation, when you go into that darkness, you close your eyes, where you get into the moment and you're focusing on your breath or whatever gets you there into that meditative state, and you're able to remember and see things that you don't consciously think of on a daily basis, right? When you get into that moment, that's when you start to see what your subliminal world is really showing you. That's the dark mirror reflecting everything back to you. And so, being able to be mature enough to let these things fizzle, and digest and process is very key. And this is what we have to do on our spiritual journey. This is how to stop overthinking, and also how to get back in control of our thinking mind, because your thinking mind can be a powerful tool, and it's either you using it or the tool is abusing you, or somebody's using a tool against you because they're lacking control over your mind, right? Control over your mind is very key on the spiritual journey, because this is a mind, body, and spirit connection. Mind, body, spirit connection on the spiritual journey is very key, right? You want to have control over all three, and having control over your mind, which entails all three, is very essential. So make time to really understand yourself. Make time to really just allow and just to surrender to what's going on in your inner world, instead of resisting it so much, instead of trying to hide it so much, right? And a lot of times when we'll find that it's like nobody wants to listen to us, or especially for men, right? It's just like I have to hide how I feel. I have to hide what I'm thinking, in order to maintain, manliness, and I say, fuck that shit, right? Obviously, you don't want to, be around, you don't want to do, let go or let loose around people that you feel are a threat to you. But, at least with yourself, you have to be able to do this with yourself. And that's very key. Be comfortable with yourself enough to really face those demons that are within you. That's very key. And that's what we all should be doing on a day-to-day basis. And not even just a day-to-day basis, but throughout the day, throughout every day. Because a lot of times this stuff comes up. And so the more that you face it, you'll find the more power that you gain over it. And you'll find that the more you'll be overthinking and having anxiety less and less. So that's the video. I'm gonna make more content like this in the future. So if you enjoyed the content, leave a like and a comment, and let me know your thoughts. And subscribe and turn notifications on so you can get notified when I post fire content like this. I wish you all luck in your journey, and peace.